Dating 101, asking the right questions. Now, if you are accustomed to having that awkward silence or not really sure what you should ask, and you have to, it's kind of a slippery slope because you have to make sure that you're not appearing to be overly inquisitive and you're doing an interview, even though it kind of is a job interview. You don't want to make it appear that way. And you want to make sure that the person is at ease with answering the questions. So you don't want to go to the deep water and ask those deep questions. Avoid those in the beginning because you might scare somebody away. And it's not appropriate. I mean, it's just not. So, and never ask a question that you don't really want to know the answer to. And don't ask a question that you wouldn't answer yourself. Those are two good rules to live by. But I always suggest, think outside the box. Do something a little bit different. Be a little creative. Don't ask the usual, what do you do for fun? Blah, blah, blah. What do you do when you're not working? What do you do? Avoid that. Because that's so mundane and so boring and you don't want to bore somebody. So think outside the box. And questions that make somebody think is extra good because you can get, if you listen to the answers, you can get good information. You can get to know somebody authentically and organically, and it's awesome. So if you catch them off guard a little bit, that's okay, as long as you're not going into the deep water. So I love hypotheticals, I do. And those are always a win because it's not, the person doesn't perceive it as asking a personal question. They don't become intimidated or, nervous. Hypotheticals are pretty easy to answer if you think about it. It's kind of a fun game and it makes people think and you can get good information. But try asking some different types of questions. If you want to ask questions, I usually suggest to listen because people like to talk about themselves. They do. If you can listen, that's the best way to get information. But if you have that awkward silence, pull something out, think of a cute hypothetical question, what if you could have any superpower, what would it be? Things like that, things that make people kind of think, but doesn't make them feel like you're being too invasive. It's always a win. But you have to kind of follow their lead, and it's important that you do that because it's a respect thing. And like I said, don't ask questions that are overly personal or overly complicated or maybe scare somebody away. You want to stay out of that deepness because it's just not time. You're trying to get to know somebody and you're trying to figure out if they're even worthy of a second date. So keep it light, keep it fun, and keep them thinking. It's always a win. Good luck.